Ready. I am ready.
But they're just picking maps, I thought. Oh, well, they're already picking maps. Well, I like it. Jay, who's on what side? It's your one job.
Cripsy's team was on the right, so Hold It Down is on the left.
Hold It Down is on the left.
I got you.
He's good at his job, guys. What can I say? No surprise there with Uther. Hold It Down. It always responds with a Tassadar ban. They have continued to ban Tassadar. And wasn't it Illidan, the other ban they were doing? Genji is first pick.
They just give up the Anubarak to Haka combo? That's scary.
It is scary.
I wonder, like, do you... So you either have to pick Greymane or ban Greymane. Because it'd be really difficult to see him go through.
You think Greymane is more value than Vala? Because you could get Valarial here.
I'm just not sold. Unless it's a Tassadar, I don't believe that double support comp is anything worth at this point. And a Vala Ariel without that added protection, I'm just not a fan. Li Ming, I'm a big fan of. I would love to see them ban Greymane in the next ban phase to keep away Crowan-style heroes, but you also give up the potential Vala Ariel to the side of Hold It Down.
Okay. Well, I do like the Regis. As far as support options go, I'm curious if they would target a Kerosene ban or not. On VOE, it's still possible. Arthas will be banned out here, just trying to restrict that warrior pool. Considering they have the Haka and Anubarak, that makes perfect sense. More or less, you know, makes them have to look at Johanna, maybe Muradin, maybe Stitches. But Stitches, with this comp so far, not as much lockdown as you would like.
So the Arthas ban. I mean, I feel like Greymane would be the appropriate ban here, but maybe the Arthas ban speaks to something different. I think giving up Greymane to Crowan is a big mistake. The threat of Tracer's not there. You've already taken away the Li Ming, so it's going to be Vala Ariel or something like a Greymane. And if I'm looking to deal with a lot of that, I'm much more safe with dealing with the Vala Ariel.
Well, they're thinking about their options here. 5 seconds. Players unknown. Their last ban is Grey Mizzle.
I like it.
So,
but does the Arthas ban make you think maybe a dive style hero?
It could. But I mean, you're not going to run Illidan here, are you? There's no Tass. There's no Rhaegar. Who?
I said we've seen it before. Maybe not in the amateur division. I think at times. I think LZ's run it on this battleground before, actually. But
yeah.
So it's Vala or Tychus as the likely pickups for Crowan. You need a support, and then you need a Genji, or excuse me, an Arthalon hero since Genji's already taken away. And
Arth
we've seen
is a
him
full flex, though. I mean, it could be Abathur. You never know with him. Support will probably be the last pick. Unless they're worried about responding to something. I guess they're leaving Crowan's pick flexible. Should be Arth on Diva. Or... No, it's triple tank. Yeah, probably Arth on a Diva, BBJ on the Kerosene, Mac on a Noob, and Ishbu on Dahaka. I guess we'll find out.
Ishbu, I think, will probably be the Anubarak.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Mac was definitely playing Dahaka a lot more. Anyways. Okay, last two picks here. Obviously, they need a front line. You know, the front line restriction of that Arthas. I mean, we mentioned Johanna. Is there any case for Stitches?
I think Johanna needs to be picked here because I'm worried about what Hold It Down might be doing. We're talking 4 melees.
Yeah.
They might just pull out something out of their bag of tricks. You know, Arthas was banned, so maybe they think we're going to have a lot of melee, so obviously Arthas does really well against a lot of melee. I think Johanna... I'm not sold on Stitches, man. I'm not sold on Stitches.
The double bruiser, the one stun they have is the Stormbolt. I mean, sure, Rhaegar has a slow. Sure, Rhaegar can add some burst with the Feral Lunge if they do get that hook. But what are they hooking? They're hooking a Diva mech and a Nubarak that's going to burrow away, a Dahaka that's going to sustain through the world, Karazim that's going to Radiant Dash away. Like, those hooks are going to be very difficult to actually translate into kills.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the Stitches, think about what Stitches brings to a team fight. He obviously has decent damage with his slam build. It got buffed a month or so ago. So you get a little bit of extra damage. You go full slam build, you get a bit of extra damage. Then you get the part-time playmaking with the hook because he's playing the bruiser role. But he doesn't have excessive wave clear. He doesn't just walk up and initiate a fight. The hook is on a 16-second cooldown. And as you alluded to, Anubarak and Diva all have escape mechanics. Yep. Dahaka is just like, you're not killing me. Vala and Karazim all have escape mechanics. And it's just, at what point does Stitches get that value, right, over any other hero? Over any other hero at that point, other than he has a really high health pool and he stays alive. He's actually just a sitting duck for Vala to just work on. And unless Muradin follows up, because a Stitches hook without the proper follow-up is bad. So Muradin is now going to have to play behind Stitches to try and land a Stormbolt. That's not effective. Yeah,
you want Muradin in there absorbing damage, getting value out of the trait, not waiting for the hook to connect. And we'll see. We'll see. I mean, this is obviously something that they gave a good bit of thought in the draft, that they were more confident in that than the Johanna play, which does tend to feel a little bit more passive and becomes a little bit more reliant on you winning the race. Oftentimes, when you see Johanna played on this map, a fair bit of her effectiveness is slowing down the opponents that are working on the Immortal, while that you can race them. Not their approach here at all. Muradin does pair well with Genji for being a little bit more aggressive, and I guess Stitches will have to hold the line for the rest of the team. But this is Hold It Down on the blue side with Ishbu on the Nubarak, BBJ playing Karazim, Arthlon on the Diva, Crowan playing that Vala, and rounding out the team, it's McIntyre on Dahaka.
On the right side for players unknown, that's going to be Cripsy on the Genji, Indy Bear on Rhaegar, Apex on Li Ming, Crux on Muradin, and up at the top will be Mysticles on Stitches.
When it comes to the solo lane, right now it's Stitches in that spot. Not really the best solo laner in the game. Does have his own self-sustain and does drop the bile to help deal with the minions, so not terrible.
So I'm going to throw this out there because it's Battlefield of Eternity and because I feel that if we start talking about Li Ming, at level 4, dominance is a clear-cut #1 for a lot of reasons. Is right now they're just on the defense here. Triumvirate on this battleground against heavy melee. When are you going to get that reset? When are you going to get the Calamity reset is kind of the other thing. And that's really one of the things I worry about is, can you get that value out of the Calamity dominance? Or do you need to play more of a backline poke hero? You get the cooldown reduction on your W. You can do quite a bit of damage pushing in, especially against that heavy melee comp. Splash it out, force Karazim onto that. It's something that I'd like to see, especially against this composition.
Well, immediately the wall does end up going down in this 4-3 setup. I mean, minute and a half in. Not too shabby here for the side of Hold It Down. That's going to be the Immortal spawning 15 seconds from now. How does the race look? Mantra build is solid. Good deflect there from Cripsy, absorbing that Hungering Arrow.
I think the thing you have to realize is that Li Ming doesn't have great anti-siege. You can push right in. And the minute Genji left, Genji doesn't have great anti-siege either, but the minute you isolate only one of those to defend, you lose your fort wall in the first 2 minutes.
Dahaka just decided he wanted to get stunned. Arthlon decided he didn't want his mech or his life. And a little bit sloppy.
Arthlon overplaying his hand quite a bit there. I hope that they have enough to finish this now. We're going to see, obviously, the Q build really does wonders post level 7.
Even Karazim.
Looks like they should win.
Yeah. Karazim, you know, probably the best support to have, especially in the early stages of this game for DPS. And then Hungry Arrow, just Vala in general. Really good DPS.
I blame JPL and Dignitas for all these Stitches picks. It looks good a lot of times, but my goodness, they draft compositions to make it look good.
It's true. Oh, Arthlon getting some good value out of the defense matrix. He does have self-destruct. If he wants to try to use that to get a little bit of additional value out of this, Immortal is an option. I mean, it doesn't take that long to build up a self-destruct. And a lot of times players will hold it for an extensive period of time. It is a good defensive option, however, so having it in your kit, you know, you deny the experience of the mech being destroyed, and it gives you an out and then a quick respawn on your mech once the explode is complete.
Well, Cripsy's still looking to try and flank there on that Genji. 15 stacks on his level 4. Looks like they might try and invade, but as you said, that mech explosion's here, so if it comes down to contesting this...
I thought he was using it. But no, he just decided to sit in place, not commit to it. McIntyre did commit to a Brush Stalker, however, which I think he'll just immediately make his way back down south.
Crowan continuing to show why he is one of the best ranged assassins, not just in the open division, but in North America. I have been so impressed with the games that we've seen from him on every hero. Vala, Greymane, Tracer, Tychus, Li Ming. He is straight dominant right now.
He doesn't stop. He just keeps that pressure on constantly. Arth gonna lose the mech to not catch self-destruct, so that is experience received. It's like killing a Misha.
Stitches went all the way top the minute he knew he had some of that soak. He's going to make his way all the way back down. The good thing is it's Battle of Eternity.
It's true. Well, regardless, this is going to be a slightly favorable situation on the side of Holding Down. They're stalling their Fallen Shaman out a little bit longer. The top fort is very low. Not that that's going to make a difference in terms of like talent tier or anything. You're not going to have heroics for this phase, or shouldn't be stalled out that long. And then we've got the double camp at the bottom with the potential global event Dahaka. Looks like they're going to make their way up to the actual portals right now.
They're going to go in. Crowan vaulting in very aggressively, but we see the 5-man. Crux trying to look for a flank, trying to look to interrupt any of this, but Li Ming and Stitches are still trying to make their way up from clearing that camp. They're giving up a lot of this Immortal right now.
Yep. Actually saw the Earth ally get killed by the boss. Diva gets stunned, but not enough follow-up available. Apex had just used his skill shot, so couldn't throw them at the pilot Diva in that moment of vulnerability. Arthlon might lose another mech, has to use a self-destruct as a response, but it will zone them away and allow them to finish the job here, summon another mech, and then just retreat back home. But Ishbu pulled in, gonna have to burrow away. Arthlon using that defense matrix to good effect there tonight, some of the DPS.
That mech not only helped zone them out, but it helped confirm a 100% shielded Immortal. We're looking at 8.5 to just about 8. An already exposed fort. They had to hearth, but this should still be at least a minimum of a fort.
It's please.
I wonder how much more.
He's looking for the aggro play. Brushstalker in. McIntyre going straight for Crux. Did not commit to the drag. And yeah, this fort is going down.
And the fact that it just now lost its shield, this should be a keep wall. And when you talk about the keep wall, long term, that's a pretty big deal. Yeah, that is a pretty big deal, but it's also experience. They're stretching the experience lead right now.
Yeah, full level lead as it stands. There goes one tower after this swing, and it's just going to get the wall after that. So half the XP that they possibly could have received was attained. McIntyre gets the drag in as the rotation comes up. Mysticles in a terrible spot will end up dying. And that's level 10 locked in just about now for keep it down or hold it down.
Hold it down. You know, they're not exactly coming out and lighting up. It's 1 kill to 1. But when we look at the amount of map pressure that they've put on, in both of the Immortals, they have 1 fort to keep wall and almost another fort down. I mean, they are very much in the lead right now.
It's a tough spot for the guys at Players Unknown. They'll have their heroics very soon, but they need to be careful. You see that Diva come charging on forward, and you just know, all right, just back up, make sure we can soak, but as safely as possible. Apex just used the teleport. Arthlon does not want to let him retreat. McIntyre even joining the fight. You see the use of the cocoon denying any kind of support whatsoever. Now they're going to wait. The drag was a little bit early, but Indy Bear is going to get focused down with ease regardless. And that's an easy 2-man kill before level 10 was locked in.
I mean, I don't know what to say, Jake. Hold it down. I mean, they're holding down every bit of this game. Crowan lighting people up. He's confirmed 1 kill, but leading the way in siege and hero damage by a wide margin for his team.
Yeah.
To be fair, he's the only assassin on the team, and he's got 3 warriors to protect him, so I think that's what they're expecting.
True. But still, you know, the numbers look good, and that Monster Hunter build is just such fast DPS. Like, look at the Immortals health. Not really going down that fast. Crowan arrives to the party. Just chunks through the HP. Don't you guys love it when casters make sound effects?
There it is. That's exactly... Okay, so right there is exactly what we talked about. You got the hook. You had no CC follow-up, and BBJ just dashed out. Every single hero on the side of Hold It Down has some way to escape. Every single one. And if you don't follow up that, where's the Stitches value?
So far,
any other warrior.
It's lost in the nether, man. So it's Cripsy caught by that first Hungry Arrow. You see Arthlon waiting to self-destruct. He's actually just trying to force him to bring some pressure onto him. Palm onto Ishbu. Will get triggered from the Feral Lunge. And that self-destruct does completely disperse the team. Arth will get those last shots in to activate the halftime shield before hopping into his mech, but that is a good hook on the McIntyre. He dodges. He's flanking up to the top, but Genji does find the kill.
They finally get the kill that they were looking for. Arthalon taking a bit of damage, but he's going to go ahead and thrust her on out of there. And this is allowing Players Unknown to finally get some semblance of control right now as they're putting the damage onto the Immortal to catch up here.
All right, Bunny hop onto 3 targets, gets a big burrow charge behind that, and BBJ thought about Radiant dashing onto Apex to get the kill. Arthlon wants Crux and wants him badly. Mystically is the first to fall. Radiant dash in. Does he have another? BBJ considering moving forward? No. Crux will live on that trait, now kicking in for the fast heals.
And here they go. The Immortal just burning down right now. There's absolutely nothing that Players Unknown can do. Just ripped through that Immortal.
About a 55-60% shielded Immortal. We already saw that bottom wall get pressured heavily. Now it's time for the top to receive that same kind of pressure. McIntyre bringing a few members down, but Ishbu is here, and they're going to be able to zone. They, you know, I love to see this. They thought about it. They're like, okay, what's the likely counter attack in this situation? They're going to go for the global, and they expected it. They had a noob waiting in the area to make sure nothing can happen, and then there's bodies that aren't immediately at this Immortal for defense. Really well thought out from Hold It Down, just reading their opponents like a book, and this Immortal makes quick work of this wall.
It's just going through it. And if there's a pick or two here, things can get a lot uglier. They have to try and defend this as best they can. It's still almost at full health. The shield is down, so it's in melee range, making it a lot easier to defend. You have Li Ming. Just put the pressure onto that Immortal. I talked about the anti-siege capability. They aren't, so they're going to try and dive right past it.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, they don't have the team.
They don't, yeah. That's rough. They couldn't focus the Immortal. They were just too worried about the engage. You saw the Putrid Bile attempt to, you know, find the team fight. But Crowan just popping in. He's the Goat Slayer.
Doing whatever he wants. No big deal.
keep down, keep exposed. Level and a half lead. It's not the biggest deficit, but it's enough to have that talent advantage to afford these kind of invades like this to be fairly safe. 13 did just get picked up, so they are looking to potentially challenge. Arthlon doesn't quite have self-destruct yet, but it's going to be enough for them to keep that fallen shaman camp, which is a big deal. A good defense.
Hook. There it is.
Yeah, but it's okay. Never mind. They have the damage. Bunny Hop was used immediately. It does have self-destruct if he has to use it, but he doesn't. He doesn't commit to it.
Oh, with the drag.
That was
Avatar was used in that.
Bunny Hop for Avatar. That's an even trade.
Bunny Hop for Avatar. I'll take that.
Bunny Hop's technically the longer cooldown, right? But it was used for 100 seconds versus 90. So, still, even in the end. Cripsy. No
Trying
fear.
to. He's completed his questing.
Mysticles. Looking for that hook. Faints in position. Arthlon took so much damage. Might lose his mech here. Has to boost on out. Back to base. Pro and just completing that questing talent at level 4 right now. And that Hungering Arrow build is ferocious.
Defensive positioning here. Catapults will deal with the Shaman camp eventually in the top lane. So right now, Hold It Down just has to play defense because their Shaman camp will eventually get far more value in that bottom lane, and that's all they're doing right now.
It's pushed in. That bottom keep wall only has one tower, which means it will not effectively defend the push of a fallen shaman camp. Arthlon play with fire, but it does actually force Cripsy pretty far forward. Crux all on his own here too. Oh my god, Arthlon still has the mech! Okay, he has the shield talent. Self-destruct, not going to use it. He's just holding on. There's no big shot.
And Avatar both used onto Crux, and they instantly turn it around and find a Nubrek. That's going to be the first kill of the fight. Cripsy going in, but Indie Bear gets dragged in. McIntyre trying to get out of there, and just like that, adaptation is going to heal him right back up.
Again, there's no big shot. So, you know, when you see a big shot diva, she gets her mech back super quick. Arthlon has been playing mega defensive. But, you know, it's basically like having a two-hero advantage. When Arthlon's that, like, weakened for a few moments, they still back up because of the Fallen Shaman pressure. And that really bit them in the butt, because otherwise they could have utilized this window where 16 wasn't quite in play to get some better damage on the Immortals. But they had to respond to that camp, which is so rough. Now 16 is going to be an option here. Everyone's back alive. All heroics are ready except for adaptation on Dahaka for the side here of Hold It Down. In this Immortal phase, although they're behind, they're about to be in a favorable spot.
Here. Catapults are forced to be defended. So now we're getting the pressure onto the Immortal. BBJ is just going in.
No fear, man.
With this composition, you don't really have to worry. Oh my goodness.
Completely.
The 100 Fist was picked up, and he is going in and throwing down right now.
Jeez. Wow, Crowan is just popping off too. Oh, that was such a quick kill. Full stun lock from the drag to just be a nuke combo and all of those Kerosene punches and Hungering Arrows. Cocoon.
Victory.
If they can get the follow-up. Time the stuns. Oh my.
It was close, Indie Bear, but you stayed too long. The bunnies are hopping, the punches are flopping, and that wolf is now a dead orc.
Do you know that I checked real quick in the middle of that? Genji had deflected 8,800 damage up to this point.
Wow.
But that's a really high number for this far into the game, but this is going to be the Immortal that will walk onto the core. They've got 2 members down on the side of Players Unknown. Hold It Down. 7 kills before. Not exactly that convincing, but they made all the kills at all the right moments, and BBJ just showing off the Kerosene skills.
Well played from Hold It Down with a really solid game number 1. Playing Triple Warrior. This is the Second time we've seen Triple Warrior with, you know, some of those primary ones. Diva is just rocking out. I know that wasn't actually a dance, but she had some of Lucio's albums, you know, in that mech, and she was getting into it.
To it for sure.